Hello and welcome to another Manna walkthrough. Today, I want to talk to you about circles. We're going to dive into some new things that's going to be coming to circles inside of Manna and kind of our new philosophy behind circles versus what was. So, circles, I'm going to show you Manna here. We're going to open this up. This is circles as it is right now. And then I want to show you what will be coming in the next update that many of you will be receiving very soon, if not by the time you watch this video. So before, Manna worked a lot like a social feed, right? I didn't really want to spend a lot of my time on Facebook or Instagram or any of that anymore. So what I was thinking when I first developed Manna was we need a way to have community inside of Scripture. And so we just had, the social feed, just as if you were on Facebook, but it's kind of inside the Bible. And that's good to some degree, but it's really not unique to Manna at all. It's just a social media copycat that someone could see and be like, that's just social media. What I hope to do with the new form of circles is really get us reading the Bible, praying together, and discussing it together. And so I want to kind of walk through how we hope to do that through the new circles. So before, you had the feed, you had chats, and you had journeys. And people were really confused by that. And I was made aware of it. And so we made some changes. And so what I'm about to show you is the new circles, okay? So what you're going to see here is there is a scripture tab, there is a prayer tab, and there is a tables tab. And we're going to get into what that is. It's always been there, but it's been kind of hidden. We're bringing it to the front of circles. Then up here, you have your chat. So the group chat's like normal. You have a way to invite quickly, and of course, your normal settings. I'm going to go to my test circle so we can kind of work through this. You also are going to notice that when you're in the scripture tab, now you're going to have all scripture conversations. And if your circle has a plan attached to it or a journey attached to it, you're going to see daily conversations. So we'll get into that, but let's move slow together. But let's look at this circle leader quick start. Read, pray, discuss. That's the goal. And I'm a leader of this circle. So the first thing I want to do is invite a few friends. And then we bring a passage into the circle. This is all about scripture. We have to keep scripture front and center, distraction free. That was the goal, right? With Manna, we want scripture front and center. We want it to be there for when you come back and it's right where you left off, right? So you bring the first passage into the circle, and then you go first with a response, you pray together, and then you start a table. Those are just some steps to get you started inside the circle. We can collapse that. We can actually hide it. So I'm going to go ahead and hide it and get it out of the way. But this is what you're going to see. You're going to start to see scripture conversations. Whereas before, you had a box down here where you could just write whatever you wanted to the feed. That's going away. This is no longer about just another social media feed. This is bringing scripture to your circle to say, hey guys, what do you think about this? How did this scripture meet you? And so this is an example of that. I brought Matthew 5:27 through 30 to the circle, and you see the passage displayed beautifully here. You can read the full passage. You can read it in context, and it'll actually take you to the Bible. So you are able to do that. Then here's where it gets fun. How did this scripture meet you? The goal of this is to respond to scripture. Now, I have responded already, but I'm going to take that away. So it took it away. This stood out to me, and I'm going to say, here's why it stood out to me. And it gives me a prompt to be able to do that. I noticed this is about do not commit adultery. I noticed that it is important what I look at with my eyes, right? And I can share that thought, and it comes down here in the conversation. It's going to highlight that you chose something stood out, but you have the ability to choose something stood out. This encouraged me, this challenged me, or I want to pray this. So this is kind of how we're bringing scripture into circles. What does this look like in your plan? So if you're in your plan, so you're in the Bible tab, and you go to your sun icon here, you go to your rhythm, and this is day 204 of the Heart Dive plan. And you are in the reading. What you'll notice down at the bottom of all of the reading is this same thing. It says, bring this reading to a circle. So choose your circles. And then it's going to allow you to, it shows you the scripture, and there is a bug there. It should show all the scripture there, but that's correctable. And then you just either pick one and you write what you want to write, or you can just share your thoughts and put anything there. So that's another way to bring scripture into the circle. So there's two ways now. Another way is by this little plus icon here. When you tap it, you hit bring scripture. And then this is for those that maybe they journal their thoughts off to the side. And so you want to connect, you can connect it to a daily reading. So I'm going to connect this to 204. It's going to be a reflection on the whole reading, and it puts that in the scripture area. And then I can just put my whole journal reflection right here. I could bring it to the circle, and then we would be able to have a conversation around that. So let's do that test again. We're going to bring it. And look here, the broader reading, we can read across the whole passage. We can open it up. It shows that it connects it to your Heart Dive 204. And then you're able to say, how did this reading meet you? Something stayed with me. This encouraged me. This challenged me. I want to pray this. Or you can share your own thoughts. So how cool is that? That you have, there's 3 different ways there that you could bring scripture into the circle. I'm going to show you a 4th way you can bring scripture into the circle. And that is through the Bible tab. You could be anywhere in the scripture. This is where that tab that I showed you at the beginning that says all scripture conversations. That's why that's important. Because if you notice, I have this here, and then I have the one for day 204. In daily conversations, it's only going to show me conversations that people have had that is connected to day 204. If I go back a day, it's going to take that conversation away. You won't be able to see it. So no matter what day you're on in your plan or your journey, you will be able to see in the daily conversations tab all of the conversations linked to that day forever. And that is so, so cool. So, but in all scripture conversations, you can be anywhere in the Bible. So I could be in Matthew 5, and it's going to take me over there to Matthew chapter 5. Actually, it's not going to because I'm in the plan. Let me get out of the plan. Now I go to Matthew chapter 5. I've been hanging out there, been preaching through the Sermon on the Mount. If there's something else that I want to bring up, I can tap on the verse, and I can go down here to our quick share. And look here, bring to a circle. And it's the same concept. You have the ability to write in anything that stood out, anything that encouraged you, anything that challenged you, or that you want to pray through this. Or you can share your own thoughts. And you choose which circle you want to share it to, and you just hit send to circles, and you are good to go. I can even do it without sharing anything. I could just say, hey guys, what do you think of this? And it goes right into my circle, as you'll see here, in the all scripture conversations. And it gives the circle the ability to have a conversation about scripture. So that's the first thing, the first way that circles are changing. The second way is the prayer tab. Now, the prayer tab is very simple. You hit the plus button, you write in a prayer request. So test prayer request, and you hit share request, and it shows up here as a prayer request. And people will be able to hit this to pray, or they will be able to reply. As I see here, it's a bug and I need to fix that, but they'll be able to reply here and give you a reply to your prayer request. And this will always be here. It's always a feed of prayer request. So that is very simple, right? And then last but not least, well, it's not really last. There's one more thing after tables. But for tables, this is a live gathering when your circle is ready to read, talk, and pray face to face. So this gives us the ability to hit the plus button. We can name the table. So this is a test table. You have the ability to record the table, and it will save on the table's feed. Okay. You can schedule it for a certain time, and it will show up as upcoming. And you can even go live to like Facebook or YouTube. So that's pretty cool, right? So then you just start the table. It's going to bring up this beautiful interface that's very similar to like a Zoom call, right? And you're going to be able to have the video, see everyone's video here. You're going to be able to have the Bible in line right here. And the beautiful thing is if you're the host, if you have another device and you have this sync button on down here, it's going to sync to the host. So if the host goes to Romans 3, everybody in the table automatically goes to Romans 3. Now the user can turn that off so that they, if they need to do some side quest or whatever, they can do that. Tables also have the ability to chat. And then there's host settings and things like that. You can lock the table. You can turn on the waiting room. You can mute everybody. You can make it to where participants can't unmute. You can start a recording and go live right here if you didn't do that from the beginning. So this is completely free. There is no subscription to this. This is completely free for you to use in your circles to actually have face-to-face conversations about scripture. So super cool. It's probably going to have bugs because no one's really tested it yet because it's been hidden. But now I'm just putting it out there. We're going to see what happens with it. So I hope that you guys will test that out. And then is the chat feature. And this just gives you the ability, whereas we had a feed before, this still gives you that ability to have kind of some instant way to communicate that's not necessarily in scripture. So here in the chat feed, you're able to send videos, text, you can upload audio, you can record audio directly into this. So you have the ability to post a photo or video, record a voice message, choose a file. So you can do all of these things here inside of group chats. And admins, you have the ability to create these. Users can create them, but they have to be approved by an admin. So just know that that is the case. And you have all of your settings here for group chats inside of your circle settings. So this is the vision for circles. It's to get people reading scripture, praying together, discussing scripture together, letting scripture saturate our lives. This is not just another social feed. And I'm very excited about you guys jumping in the next update to be able to take part in the new circles. So if this has intrigued you and you want to check it out, go to gathermanna.com and just check this thing out today. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video where we're actually going to talk about how we navigate inside of our plan. I've had a lot of people ask about this, and especially our Heart Divers, the partnership that we have with Heart Dive. So we're really going to dig into how we navigate around the plan. So come back for the next video, and I'll see you next time.